The Women Beyond the Table is a community of empowered women who are rewriting the rules and taking their skills, knowledge, and wisdom beyond the table.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Women Beyond the Table podcast. As you know by now, my name is Tammy, and I am always excited to host this podcast. I feel very grateful for the opportunity to do it, but what I feel even more grateful about is to have really great guests to interview and to speak with. And today is no exception. And I know I say I'm excited to welcome a guest every podcast, but because I really truly am, it brings me joy. And it brings me a lot of happiness to speak to amazing, accomplished women who are friends, who, I started off like not knowing them so well, but they become my friends, and I'm really honored to know them. And they're doing really amazing and very admirable things. They've pivoted in their lives and they've had their own journeys. And the reason that we figured to create this podcast in the first place was to give all the listeners out there, women just like us, who have achieved things, who have pivoted, who have had challenges and continue to have challenges, but keep going forward in their journeys and sharing it with authentic, real women versus women who are up in the stratosphere at this point, where I personally think we're all in our own mind stratospheres anyway. It doesn't matter, the level of income, it's where you're at. And if you're happy, that counts. I feel particularly joy to bring this to the audience and have an opportunity. And joy is definitely a topic today because my guest is all about joy. So I'm going to, welcome Brigette Sobus. She is the Power and Joy Mentor. That's why I wanted to make sure I had joy in this introduction. So Brigette had her first experience with transforming business in 2005 when she began working with a struggling salon. And within 3 years of taking over that salon, she turned that salon into a top-ranking establishment with a more than 30% increase in revenue. That's quite a lot. She even earned the salon a place in Salon Today magazine's top 200 salons for best practices in North America. And for the listeners, North America is a very big continent. Hello, top 200 is very impressive. After that, she was hooked on helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses and overcome their struggles. Brigette is now a professional certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. She prides herself on her commitment to up-leveling her practice and has achieved several additional certifications, which include Master and Trainer of NLP Coach, Master and Trainer of NLP Practitioner. And for those of you who don't know what NLP stands for, it stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. She's also a Master and Trainer of Timeline Therapy, Master and Trainer of Hypnosis, plus Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Centered Coach Certification. Brigette owns the Power and Joy Academy, and it brings her great joy to guide her clients from a place of unfulfillment and frustration to a place of empowerment and success through her Power and Joy mentorship program. I personally think what makes Brigette so good at what she does is that she combines the knowledge and mindset of an entrepreneur. She's also traveled life, so she has life expertise. And then she combines that with her coaching and her coaching certification and her coaching expertise. So she can walk the walk. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyone in the audience looking to become certified in any of the mentioned disciplines, then look no further because Brigette is here. So with all that being said, and I hope I got it all right, Brigette. Hi, Brigette. Welcome to the Women Beyond the Table podcast.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here with you, Tammy. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, of course. I mean, I absolutely am excited and thrilled to have you here. Now, as with anything that, we do here, I always try to start from the beginning because we have to have a starting point. How, to connect the dots. How do you go from A to B to C to D and to get to where you are today to a place of where you want to be, okay, where you're at. So let's start with going back in time to the salon experience and how you even got into all of that and that process, and then how you pivoted and kept pivoting along the way. So I'm giving you the floor now. Let's start from the past and bring it to the present.
Let's go back almost 17, 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had been in the salon industry. I was a master certified hair colorist, and I worked for several different types of salons in my career, very strict corporate salons to salons that had a little bit of structure in place, and then free-for-alls. So, everything in between. And I was working at a hair salon and I was making a 6-figure income, and the salon wasn't being run very well. And I thought to myself at some point, if this guy can run a salon, there's no reason why I can't. And I thought, I would take my 6-figure salary and become a millionaire. And my salon used to be in Chicago. And I would buy a yacht like on Lake Michigan. Well, that didn't happen. I quickly found out after I bought the salon, I had no idea how to run a business. It was like completely different story from doing hair behind the chair. I had lost my 6-figure paycheck. If you knew me 17 years ago and I was running a team meeting, I was crying because I was overrun with emotion. And luckily for me, somebody introduced me to a coaching consultant. And I hired them pretty much straight away. And that's when I started turning the business around. I started growing it by 30% each year. I learned how to grow and manage a team without crying, which was pretty cool. And I got my 6-figure paycheck back. And because of that experience of how it impacted my life, not only professionally, but personally, I was like, I want to do this for other people. I want to become a coach and consultant and trainer.
That's amazing. You went from like entrepreneurial to entrepreneurial who's really wants to serve.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And I love the fact that you said, you know what, if this guy can run a salon, I can do it. Now, yeah, it was overwhelming for you, but it didn't stop you from saying, I'm going to do this. And then you did it and you stepped into it and you said, okay, so I need certain skills. There's a void in the skill set for running a business and I need that. So you went out and you got it done. Tears are okay. It's like you were vulnerable with your staff. And I think that they said, we want to probably support her because she's being open with us instead of, just being one of those like people in business or, bosses who just is hard to relate to and hard to, gain trust with. So I think you achieved all that. That's one of the reasons that you were able to do this 30% increase, because you had your staff behind you, you laid yourself bare, and you sought the skill sets that you needed. Yes. So, okay, I love it. And then you learned so much. You said again, I can do this and I want to help serve. So I want to serve. So I love your story. Go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no.
How to point those things out.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So that started my journey on becoming a coach and consultant and trainer, just because of the impact it made on me. And then, so I took a bunch of courses to do that. I went through a year-long certification program to become a coach with the International Coaching Federation. I was an independent contractor for a company that served the salon and spa industry. So that was our niche. And, I have a roller coaster of a journey. Where else do you want me to start?
No, but okay. So with the certification,
I've witnessed the good, bad, and the ugly.
No, but like with certification, I mean, I'm wondering, are most coaches that are out there today, because it's become this huge business, and I feel like a lot of people just decide, I want to coach, and I could be good at this. But you have the actual certification with the International Coaching Federation. Are most coaches certified with the federation or with some organization, or a lot of them putting out a shingle? Like that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I was just listening to somebody talk about that. There's not a lot of people that are actually certified internationally, like globally, with the International Coaching Federation. Yes, you can read a book and you can, done yourself, I'm a life coach. Right. You can't do that. I mean, personally, for me, I surround myself with people that are certified. But I think it's just with like any profession, how, to stay in integrity and to get the certifications and even with continuing education, because there's always something new coming out.
Exactly. You have to keep up in your craft. It's, the day you think you know everything is the day you're obsolete, because there's always new things coming out. Also, NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming, is a term I hear a lot. What exactly does that mean as far as being a coach and a practitioner of that? What does that NLP exactly stand for? I mean, we know what it stands for, but what does it mean? What kind of coaching is that?
Well, it's a lot. I mean, if you would just a basic baseline, it's the study of excellence and study of also communication. And what I love about it, because, being with the International Coaching Federation, I was working with a lot of tools that coach, let's just say, that your conscious mind. And then when I started getting involved with NLP work and timeline therapy and hypnosis, there was a different level of working with someone with their unconscious mind.
Right.
And the unconscious mind is the part of us which sometimes we're not even aware of. Like if we have a possible bad behavior, or we have negative thinking, or our emotions are running our show, that's our unconscious mind that's taking over a lot of the time. So I love to work with people's unconscious mind so we can let that stuff go at the root cause of what's going on there, because a lot of our belief systems
is unconscious.
And they were actually created most likely between the ages of 0 and 7 years old.
So I had done like a 4-week program with Anna Berger of Quantum Mind Academy, which it was all about your subconscious. And it was so fascinating to me because, there's the conscious, which is the sovereign, right? But it's only really 10%, like 90% is that subconscious, that's the general, that's running everything. So it's not only like a lot of the thoughts and the way you act, but it's running your system, your breathing, your heartbeats. Like, it's not something you can just say, stop, don't work anymore. You're like, let me control myself, because it's a very important thing, and it wants to serve. And that the subconscious, when you say 0 to 7, because the subconscious really, his job is to protect you, to keep you alive. And if we're all of the ancient brain, the ancient mind. Everything about us is still ancient. I mean, we look different and we've evolved to certain things, and our bodies have evolved, but at the end of the day, like, its job is to keep you alive. So whatever tribe you're in, whether it's your immediate family or that tribe of, extended family, friends, teachers, people you come into contact with between 0 and 7, that subconscious is just trying to get you to fit in so that you can survive. Because if the tribe exiles you, you're dead. And today too, if your family just they could give you up to adoption or something, but who knows how you're going to thrive or what's going to happen. And so you do everything, like your subconscious, everything to make you, fit in with all the norms and whatever you hear. And if somebody says something to you that's not exactly nice, you take it in and you adapt to it. And then what happens is as you grow up, you're like seeking out situations that confirm these beliefs that you've been put into your head from time you're 0 to 7, because that's what your subconscious knows how to handle, because it's used to it. But then it doesn't realize that you grew up and that you can make decisions. And so we had to actually do recordings of our own voice telling ourselves, and put with images, because the subconscious understands images. It's not a verbal, like a language, like your conscious you could speak to on one level, but your subconscious needs images. And we were like giving ourselves, like in our voices, like, and images of I love you, thank you, I grew up, I'm okay. Like, and it was so like those kind of things, and affirmations that go with that to get that, because it really does follow you. And when you're doing hypnosis, are you like speaking directly to the subconscious of a person? And how is that differ? If you're doing hypnosis, do you do it in conjunction with NLP therapy, or is it two different disciplines, and it depends on what you need to do with the client?
Yeah, that's a great question. I use it in conjunction with all the modalities. I do a combination. So whether it's a modality that's for the conscious level, or the subconscious, depending on what my client's challenges are, So if they're feeling overwhelmed, if they're feeling stressed, possibly even resentful, I definitely customize it to what the client needs. And with the hypnosis, yeah, it's a lot of that, what you just shared, like feeding back their positive learnings, their positive affirmations, the things that they want to learn, behavior changes that they want to make.
Now, explain timeline therapy, what that is, because that also sounds fascinating to me.
Yeah. So timeline therapy is, it releases either the negative emotion or the limiting belief at the root cause of the problem. So through trance work, I'm taking my client back through their timeline, and I'm having them go back to the very root cause of the event, the first event, which when it's disconnected, it's going to have that limiting belief or the negative emotion disappear. So I'll give you an example too. Like, let's just say I always start out with anger. So if I, like in the past, before I started doing the NLP and timeline therapy work, I would, like, anger for me would be like, it would just continue to build up and build up. And in the past, I've taken these crowns off. I was a Pollyanna pleaser type of a person. Like, I
Don't
was
you find a lot of women are like
all the time.
Yeah.
And, but like when I would get angry about something, it would be, and I would tell you a story about it. We'll give you one example. Like, I went through a very devastating divorce in 2010, and it lasted almost 2 years. And when I would speak about it, it would be like fuel to the fire. Like, anger would just, like, it was almost like this ball and chain would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when I had timeline therapy, I was like, am I not angry about that anymore? Like, is it gone? Like, it's gone. Like, and now I can just tell the story of my divorce. Like, it was just
and be more, tell it as an observer versus somebody who's like,
exactly. Like, I'm not like reliving it again and then getting all worked up. It's like, I can just be calm, cool. And it was just like a learning lesson. But when I get mad, I still get angry.
Yeah,
but
because people are people.
Point,
we have emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Emotions are natural and they're healthy. But now when I get angry, it's like, I get angry for like 3 or 5 minutes, and then I get the lessons, and then I move on. It's not this like big gigantic bonfire that just keeps growing.
Or the repetitive thought process. Like I've gone through that, where I'll repeat it over and over the scenario, how I could have handled it differently, what I should have said, why I didn't say that. And I'm like, and I used to walk down the street, like talking to myself. People thought I was crazy because I was reliving something and angry about it. And that leads to, the resentment. And then, and you're like, why am I acting this way all the time? And you get frustrated so easily. And I think it's a way more than I'm just burnt out. I've been pleasing too many people. I'm doing too much. I'm angry. You don't appreciate me. You don't appreciate me. It's from somewhere else, like this anger and the reaction of always being angry. Listen, living in Manhattan too. I mean, if somebody walks slow, you start losing your shit. You're like, move it, it's also, I think your environment also leads to stressors and provocation. I find that I've calmed down in a lot of ways. I've definitely calmed down because I've been working on it for the last years, but certain things like my circle of concern, politics, certain things will trigger me. And I'm like, don't get triggered, don't react to it, because it's your circle of concern. It's not even like there's much you can really do except vote. However, you can do more in your circle of influence, at least to control your responses. But Brigette, I had to like turn off all media, and I don't watch TV because it was triggering me, or it was also such a time waster. I felt like, but I just find that what I find about you, what's different and fascinating is this level of certification and expertise, like the real deal. You can create coaches and you can train D2C, individuals, which most coaches I've come in contact with, they cannot train people to become coaches. They don't have that level of certification. So what is Marshall Goldsmith's Stakeholder Centered Coach Certification? What is that about? What does that mean?
That's a lot of more doing corporate work and like doing group coaching into corporate settings, coaching teams.
So your base is you do the individual, you do corporate business.
Yeah, or small businesses too.
And
like
small
going into
businesses.
small businesses and coaching
Right.
teams so that they're getting all on the same page and then reaching the same goals.
So what do you feel like are the, like when you go into a business, it's more teamwork and do you find like in the teams, do you find that when you go in and you teach a business or you work in a corporation and you're teaching a team and you're doing work with them, does the business say, okay, you know what, I know you've come in for 2 days or 3 days and you've done this great work, but we want you to make sure to monitor, continue, because we all know change doesn't happen in 3 times.
Yeah.
It gets people excited, but if the management team isn't in line with what you're teaching the teams, if the management, whoever who's running this business isn't also implementing and part of that process, it's not going to last. So how do you get, like, I can understand with individuals because it's a different timeline and it's a longer timeline. Probably when you have somebody coaching with you, they're in it for longer than a couple of sessions, 3 times or something. So how do you like impress with business or on the corporate space, like this is going to take time and we need to make sure that we keep instilling and do they bring you in on a continual basis? Do you do check-ins? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah,
different.
Yeah, I mean, right now I've been focusing a lot on small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Teams, like I just went to a salon, a small business a few weeks ago and was coaching the team, and I'm coaching the owner. And then I'm actually going to be doing a Zoom call with this team so I was on site with them. And now in July, I'm going to do a 2-hour Zoom call with all of them to see like where they're at. What are they implementing?
Answer questions.
What are their wins? What are they struggling with?
Mm-hmm.
How can I support them? What do they need to take on to get out of their way? So yes, I do follow-ups with them, but a lot of the times I'm coaching usually the manager or the owners.
Right.
So that they can continue to coach their team.
And do you find like in the teams, like people are shy to speak up or say like what it is they're dealing with because they're of the judgment they feel that they might get and all that stuff. So do they also have access to like email you or send you or call or say like, I need to talk individually?
Yes. I always let them know that they can. At the beginning of all my trainings, yes, when I'm with a group of people, you have even when I had my team at my salon, I had everything I started out with 6 and I had everything from 24 people to everything in the middle. You're always going to have that group that in the group, there's the people that talk all the time. Mm-hmm. And then there's the ones that don't say anything. And then there's the ones in the middle that'll kind of. So what I do when I go into teams like that is I ask for permission from all of them. I said, do I have your permission to coach all of you? And they all say yes. And I said, okay, great. So do I have permission to, ask you questions and bring you forward? And then I get all of their agreements. So I will start monitoring the room to see who's the quiet one, who hasn't spoken yet, so they can participate and come out of their shells.
Right, because it's the quiet ones that get overlooked. And a lot of times, everybody, like what's been coming out, what's really interesting, and especially in the interviews, is like this notion, this conversation of that you just don't know what's going on in a person's head. And everybody could be going through such trauma like in their lives, and they put a mask on because they can function. They put the mask on, they go, and then they act like nobody even realizes, their families don't even realize something's going on because we're so conditioned that people shouldn't know and keep it together and do what you have to. You have people relying on you, and then they lose it, and people like, oh, they were so nice, they were so quiet, I had no idea. You see it all the time. So it's really it's really good to like make sure to like try to like reach out to the person who's not saying anything and not assuming they're okay because they're not saying anything, because it's usually the opposite, or it might not be the opposite, but you just never know, because everybody's got stuff going on in their head. So let me ask you a question. When you mentioned that you had gone through this very tough divorce, were you in doing this certification and training at the time were you going through coaching, or did you decide after, or was like, how did that work?
That's a great question. Just laughing about it, because I imagine the first time I had already started becoming a trainer by then. So I was always already a trainer, training in front of a room, doing a little bit of consulting work. And I started getting involved with the company that I ended up being an independent contractor for, to work with. And I was in the middle of a divorce, crying mess, super emotional. And I met this woman named Kathy Fleming. She's one of my mentors. And I'm literally crying, going through this divorce, asking her to help me, and standing in front of a room of like all these people that were in this class I was in. And I was like, I just want to become a life coach. And she recommended this program to me that actually was good. I'm from Chicago, and it was starting in Chicago like a couple months later. And yes, at probably one of the messiest years of my life, I became a life coach.
But it's interesting. Did you find that going through this and also realizing that you wanted to get into the coaching side because of your experiences in salon, it might have opened your mind to such a point where you're like, I've outgrown this person. I'm becoming a different person. I'm taking a different path. So as hard as it was, it probably was also like you changing your mindset about what you wanted and who you wanted to be. And he didn't fit into that. And he probably reacted on some level to that also, because we feel the energy when you've outgrown something, or you're not in it, or your mind's in a different place. You might not say anything directly about it, but the energy is different, and people, can pick up on that. So, okay. So you went through it, and you probably walked out of there saying, okay, I learned a lot. Like God took me on a bunch of, curves and a couple of bridges here that really sucked that I had to cross. But you know what? I'm so much stronger now. I'm so much better off. You probably came out of that.
So I have here's the thing about becoming whether you want to be your life coach or a business coach or whatever type of coach you want to focus on. I hear people say to me, oh, I would love to be a life coach, but I have to get my life together. And that is so far from the truth, because the truth is that I would say, like, especially coaches that are committed to the profession, we're always working on our own stuff. So it's like a both and. My life is not perfect by any means. I mean, I'm a human, I still have my struggles, but I go and I work on them. So
exactly,
my breakthroughs usually end up being my clients' breakthroughs.
That's so powerful, because like, even I remember when I'm learning from psychologists, and they were just like, we see psychologists because we have to talk to somebody because we're going through stuff all the time. Yeah. And I was like, it's amazing. The truth of the matter is that I always notice when people say, I want to do something, but the but is the excuse. And you know what? It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to be 100% ready to do anything. You got to just start, because the motivation comes after the first step, and you change as you're going along. So yeah, I 100% agree that you were able to, say, I'm going into this, and whatever stuff is coming at me and whatever challenges coming at me, I'm going to bring it along as part of my journey and process to getting to my next level where I want to go, which is being a coach. And you've also had to deal with other challenges, because you've had other issues that you've had to deal with, and health issues. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's just, to me, you're like I don't know, you're just a vision of powerful,
Oh, thank you.
of just, somebody who moves forward, and you don't let things get to you. They get to you, but you don't let things keep you down.
Yeah.
You find the path. And I find that take action. And I find that very, very inspiring and admirable.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I have had a roller coaster of a journey. I like, if I were to just look at the timeline of events that had happened. Yes. 2010, I went through a really nasty divorce. 2012 is when I finalized that divorce to be done. And then a couple of years later, I found myself, because of the divorce of things, again, I had no idea what was going on, behind my back. I found myself in personal debt of $1.3 million. And because we had owned properties together. And like I said, there were just things that I wasn't aware of, unfortunately. And I was faced with a lot of advice on getting bankruptcy, to file bankruptcy. And I was like, I worked really hard for my salon. Like it's $1 million business. It's an award-winning salon. Like I worked really hard for this. And I decided to file, and then decided to buy my own business back from the trustee. And then I got struck with breast cancer. So I had to navigate through all that stuff. But I sometimes I feel like the universe speaks to you in really strange ways, and you just have to listen to it. Like part of it was, okay, you got to slow down, because I used to work. I was the type of person that was always working. I was a yes man. Like I was working, but still doing hair behind the chair. I was running the salon. I was doing coaching, consulting work. Around
totally
the country.
Multitasking everywhere, because that's your nature, is to say yes to everything.
Yeah. So I was so being busy. And I feel like, the universe is like, you got to slow down. So I was able, because I had so many systems in place in my business, I was able to take a 7-month leave off of work to take care of myself. And then just over time, I was even starting to realize that the salon, as much as it was a big part of me, I wasn't passionate about owning it anymore. And then the universe came and gave me another big, kick in the booty. Be like, you're done with this place. You have a bigger game to play. So I put the salon on the market, and I sold it during the pandemic. And then I started reinventing my life all over again. That's when I decided I left that coaching company that I was an independent contractor for. I launched my own business, and then I launched my own coaching academy to certify other people to become NLP coaches, timeline therapists, and hypnosis. And then I was struck with the beginning of the year. I have a reoccurrence of, you're all free and clear of this, who all's listening. I was diagnosed. They caught it early, but I'm, going through breast cancer treatment again. And in the middle of building a business, I had surgery at the beginning of the year. I have one more chemo treatment left. But a lot of it, people are like, how are you doing? And don't get me wrong, it sucks. I have my moments,
of course,
but at the same time, I'm very, optimistic. I'm glad they caught it early, and I love my work. I love what I do. So I'm just still building my business, doing what I love, and healing my body.
Yes. And what's even better this time around is that you recognize where your passion is and what your joy is and what you love doing. And that, I think, really takes out a lot of the stressors, because when you're in a situation where you're doing a lot of jobs and a lot of this and saying yes to everything, and you're in a business that you might not have the passion for anymore, but you're still, you're feeling obligated to fulfill all these roles and do this and do that. When you take that step and you get rid of all that stuff, you remove a certain amount of stress. And I believe that disease is also from stress. I mean, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I can tell you when I exactly how I got it and where I got it. Okay. Because it wasn't in my family. So I think stress like just bangs on the body enough that it causes a reaction. It causes genes to turn on that weren't meant to turn on. And as you remove that, and as you get more into like what you love and you're doing what you love, it just puts a different kind of energy into your body.
Yep.
And I think that's why right now, like, even though it did come back, you're able to catch it early and you're able to do your treatments and go forward and do your thing.
Yep.
You're not like, debilitated or saying, I can't, I'm in treatment. You look amazing. You look beautiful. And you're like doing your thing. And this round coming up for you is gonna blow out of the water. So now that we're getting like towards the end and we're almost at the end of the interview, I met you, Woman Beyond the Table. I didn't know you prior to Woman Beyond the Table. So I wanted to ask you, what does Woman Beyond the Table, the group, mean to you, and or how you see it? And then we're going to get into, you have an amazing offer for the audience. So we definitely want to get into that too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love Women Beyond the Table. I've made so many good friends here, and some of my friends have joined now, and it's just such an amazing community of powerhouse, beautiful women that support each other. And I'm getting the goosebumps just talking about it. It's just so cool to me. Like, even when I first got diagnosed in the beginning of the year, I had just joined the group, and I can't tell you how many women just reached out to me and like send me love and healing vibes. And you even, Tammy, you calling me all the time and checking in on me. And it's just such a wonderful community for all these women are just lifting each other up and supporting each other.
Yeah, it's really cool because it started like mostly as a business kind of network, but it's really become like more of just like sisterhood, this community of women who support each other and not compete or not, judging or any of that stuff, like what's your net worth, how much do you make? Like, it's not like that. It's more like, it's everybody just is themselves. They try to be as, they just try to be there and be supportive. And I think that's what people like, especially since the pandemic. I think that people just miss that connection of just having somebody who's a sounding board or having like people you can talk to, and there's nothing required from them. Like, you just want them to listen and not judge you or give you. Sometimes your friends can't even do that for you because they know you in a different way, and they might, be more judgmental or not stick up for you. But in this case, it's nice just to have the connection to other women who really are just there to be a community with you. So I really appreciate that, you feel that way. And I hope you want to, stay in the group for a long time, because I know the other members really admire and they love you too. So now that we're here at the end, first of all, anybody who's listening and they want to reach you, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, you can email me at Brigette, Brigette, at Brigette, and then my last name, Sobus, SOBUS.com. You can reach me that way. I have a website, BrigitteSobus.com, that you can reach me through there. And I'm really excited about this because I've been in a rebranding process for the Power and Joy Coaching Academy. My new website is going to be launched like very soon. So it's Power and Joy Coaching Academy.com.
Great.
On there as well. Yes.
And tell us about your offer, because it's a very good one.
Yeah. So I have a free ebook that I created called The 3 Biggest Blocks that Prevent Your Coaching from Exponential Growth. I have that free ebook. And then also offering a complimentary 60-minute Power, Joy, and Profits strategy session.
That's fantastic. Now, for the link, is it on your website for the ebook also?
Okay, so so that's a great question. So on my current website, BrigitteSobus.com, I have also another free ebook on there called 10 Ways to Live Your Highest and Best Self on there. But on my new website, that's where the new, the three biggest blocks will be.
Okay. And you know, everybody, that this is all going to be in the descriptive, all the links, the information, the contact information. So you'll be able to find it in the podcast advertisement descriptive section. So
Awesome.
you'll have that too there. And, Brigette, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be on the call today. I know you have so much going on, and for, patiently explaining all the different certifications and what it means, because I think there's confusion out there with people in general. What does this mean? What is that about? They're not really sure, but once it's explained, they can make, good decisions and find out more. And and thank you for sharing your challenges, and also, being honest with us about what you're going through and challenges and how you've managed to overcome and move forward. And that's the key, right? That's what it's all about. So I just want to say again, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
And I'll be talking to you again soon.
Awesome.
And I'm going to say ciao for now.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We would love your support, so please leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you are interested in hearing more of the Beyond the Table podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Check out the show notes to find out how to reach us, and remember, you are strong, intelligent, and sensational. You are beyond the table.